Alright, what's up guys? Recently I was around at Rory's place to play a game of Warhammer, and it was Skaven against Vampire Counts, me with the Skaven, of course, a meeting engagement, and I've got to say the highlight of this battle for me, definitely the highlight was the terrain. Rory and his buddy Graham put a lot of work into the terrain pieces. We've got a river, all sorts of really nice looking forests, and some other bits and pieces which we'll do some close-ups on shortly. This Skaven army is exactly the same as the one that I played last time against Phil's Empire, and this Vampire's army features some interesting choices. He's got a lot of zombies, mega unit of like 70. He's got a pure casting Vampire with two Necromancers in a unit of skeletons behind them, 20 Graveguard with the regen banner, a bunch of ghouls, Black Knight, sorry, a couple of units of wolves, and a Vargolf. But yeah, be interesting. With this terrain setup, it'll be quite annoying for us to get everything sort of where we want it because of the river or anything like that. Also, I rolled a 1 for the reserve deployment of my Helpet Abomination and Doomwheel. So that'll be interesting. Next photo shows you Rory's setup here. He's got his massive 70 zombies, and he's put his Lord, which you can see in the skeleton unit to the left, just behind them, and the Lord has the Fencer's Blade, so that is there to pass on to the Helm of Command or whatever it is, which will give the zombies weapon skill 10, which would be quite funny. But that's generally the strategy of this type of vampire build. It's reasonably strong. You know, the only thing which is really sort of weak about this type of build is that he doesn't have the horde unit of ghouls. Really, I think the strongest way to play vampires at the moment is like horde formation, Graveguard, and horde formation ghouls, and just leave it at that, and put all your points into that as well as maybe some characters. Next image, here's where he has deployed his ghoul unit. I think he's got 30 of them, but they're in a bus formation in the forest there. Some of these forests actually turn out to be venom thickets. No, the ghouls are in a fungus forest, so that's that. But really nice view of the river here. I love the way they painted it with the rapids and things going around the rocks. Very cool indeed. Next image over here shows you his Vargolf, which is proxied. It's represented by a whatchamacallit. It's that monster that the vampire count can fly on. It's not the zombie dragon. It's the something else. The nightmare guy. I can't remember what it's called, but we've got the Black Knights right next to them, and facing off against my slaves and clan rats in the background. Sorry that the photos are a bit grainy. They're a bit sort of pixelated, and I think that's just because of the dark lighting that we had. I mean, we did our best with the lightning there. What's quite cool is that the forest, I know you guys won't be able to see this very well, but the forest in front of the knights there has a little circular base with spiders creeping through it, and that's meant to represent the fact that the forest is a venom thicket, so quite a cool little touch to that. Next image, although this other scenery next to the table doesn't really play a role in the actual battle, it's there purely for looks, and damn, it looks really cool. It's like an undead, haunted castle which has been ruined a number of times, and sort of overlooking the battlefield, and we're sort of fighting for the castle in some respects. Next image is a close-up of the tower, which I found particularly impressive, with the broken clock and everything. Very nicely done. Even close-up, it looks great. Next image, the battlements. You can see skeletal corpses, you know, hanging from spikes and stuff. Very gothic and ominous, so to speak. See even like a skull over the gates. Next image, he's got a anvil of Vol, and this is how he is representing it. This hill grants nearby units flaming and magical attacks, if I remember correctly. So that's what's going on there. This next hill has a magical circle of some kind, Altar of Cain. I can't quite remember which one it was, but this particular terrain piece didn't really feature in the game that heavily because we didn't deploy anybody near it. Next image, the Helpet Abomination shows up. I have the first turn here, and the Abomination just shows up at the back of the field and moses on through and hits a unit of slaves or whatever and causes some d6 impact hits. I kind of want to keep the Helpet in reserve here because if I put him anywhere else, he's either going to not affect the game at all for the first 4 or 5 turns, or he's going to get too close to the enemy, and with the Anvil of All over there, the zombies flaming attacks against the A-bomb that eventually take it down. Next image, the Doomwheel's not afraid of the Anvil of All, though, so he creeps up into the corner here. The plan with this guy is just to wipe out the direwolves and then just skirt around the back and eventually engage the skeletal unit, which will prevent the Vampire Lord from passing on the Helm of Commandment buff to the zombies, and possibly even threaten the Vampire Lord's unit itself if he does enough damage. Next image, I'm moving out, just creeping along here. I've got the gutter runners set up so that they can kill as many of the dire wolves in the background as possible, and I've got the giant rat unit just going in front, trying to pick up Death Frenzy during the magic phase. And looking over to the right, Doomwheel creeps up and fires a few shots at the dire wolves, or actually tries to. What actually later happens is that it misfires, but I'll show you a photo of that when the time comes. What happens next, though, is that if you head to the next photo, I fire off my Doom Rocket. I was planning on taking out as many zombies as I could. You know, many of you will say, well, the better target was going to be the Graveguard or the ghouls. Well, I say to that, the Graveguard have got the regen banner, and it's quite easy for them to bring them back. With the ghouls, they were too far away for me to hit them accurately. With the zombies, I just wasn't going to miss, so planted the template on them. I killed about 20 or 30 of them, and that's it. Of course, he'll bring them back, but it just means that he has to spend power dice doing that, which means that the rest of my guys are safe from his magic for a while. So that's the idea there. Next image, though, the Doomwheel tries to shoot at the direwolves. It misfires and goes out of control and rolls a massive number, speeding all the way over to the river and fortunately passing its dangerous train check, but that was kind of silly. Next image, the gutter runners have killed 3 direwolves, but they retaliate and charge this gutter runner, not the gutter runner, so the warp fire thrower in the flank. Miraculously, I managed to win this combat by surviving the hits and heading back to kill one of them. And yeah, it's just a shame I didn't kill all 5 with the gutter runners, but you know, with only 6s, you know, to kill out of 14 shots, I couldn't quite get 5 of them, of course. Next image, the Black Knights, of course, don't worry about the Venom Thicket because they've got their ethereal rules, so they're just creeping up through it, the Vargolf going around the back, and these guys, the only stuff they have to kill is a unit of slaves and a unit of clan rats, so I don't really think he'll be getting his points worth out of these 2 units, but he could move them around to attack other parts of the battlefield later. Next image, he moves forward with the zombies a little bit, but just generally doesn't get up to too much here. I questioned him here. I thought he would have charged the Doomwheel with the zombies and then reformed up next to the river, but he's chosen not to do that. The interesting thing about the river is you lose ranks while you're in it, so if whoever stays on the side of the river and just waits for the other guy to come across, you know, they'll have an advantage. So you're one of the downfalls of a river in an actual game of Warhammer, but it just looks so cool. It looks like real water. It's just amazing. That's not real water, by the way. It's just layers of, you know, whatever it is, PVA or some sort of dried liquid. Next image, he's got a vampire, not a vampire, a White King on foot who unfortunately came on in reserve, so he's hurrying across the riverbanks to get into the Graveguard unit. Quite a good bit of photography there. Next image, Winds of Undeath is cast, causing me minimal damage, but creating a small unit of you know, spirit hosts here with 4 wounds, just the 1 base, and fortunately I've got a Doomwheel which has magical attacks, so I'll mosey the Doomwheel over here and blast it, hopefully with my lightning. Next image, the slaves and clan rats just moving over to the left to set up a defensive position up against the Vargolf charge, hopefully staying within range of the Screaming Bell 18-inch expiring presence. He also had some Fellbats which came on reserve and they've just headed up behind the wall, but the gutter runners are going to have a good crack at them with their poison attacks. The ghouls have failed their stupidity check over in the forest, being out of range of the general and the very low leadership, so my giant rat unit is creeping up on them. Next image, I've still got the Helped Abomination hanging around the back and just waiting for a better opportunity to head over there. We're nearly halfway through the game, but I don't really mind if I keep the Helped Abomination alive and don't use them, because if I can just sort of keep the undead stuff